Welcome into Crossing the Aisle on this Thursday hot afternoon. Good afternoon, Sean.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I am good. How are you?
Well, again, I have equipment failures, but as usual, per usual.
What are your
Okay, now I
headphones
fixed it.
working?
Yeah,
Are you good?
it's the connectors. God bless. Anyway, that's always fun, y'all. When you get on the radio and there's always something that seems to go wrong, whether it's your headphones, internet, who knows.
Yeah,
Or
always something, always something.
yeah.
So
So
we
anyway,
want to thank Kingfish for filling in for us yesterday, and Andrew Gasser
mhm.
for helping him out as well.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like Kingfish and don't know how to use the board now that you guys taught me one time. And so I would have to learn too. So me and Kingfish and Kim Wade can all not use the board. So need help from assistants like people like Lindsay and Andrew Gasser and
The
Cliff.
smart ones, the
The
smart
smart ones, the
ones.
smart people here help us run the board. But Kingfish is we were actually in Melbourne, Florida yesterday, and we got to listen to Kingfish talk about some of the stuff. Thought some of the way he put stuff was definitely entertaining. When you say Lindsay, I
It
think.
was. I'm sorry, Matt, about that slip on Kingfish's
Yeah, Matt
phone.
cannot get mad at us about
It
because
wasn't
that
me.
was not us. I think my favorite portion of Kingfish
I
show was
like his redneck voice.
yeah, he did a good redneck
He
voice.
did. That was quite entertaining.
We're talking about what we're about to talk about Steve Gaines' response in the Rankin County Goon Squad stuff to his comments at the prayer. Lindsay says not a prayer breakfast, whatever the breakfast,
I've never heard it called a prayer breakfast until Sean. So I don't know where he picked that
whatever
term
it's
up. But
called. Yeah, I don't know. But so Kingfish, what did he equate it to? He said the Ku Klux Klan.
yeah, something about the
He called them
something
Klan
about the
members or
KKK.
something. I was like, dang, Kingfish, you're really knocking it out there. We were sitting having a drink, laughing. Like, well, that early. We were on Eastern time, folks. It was Eastern time. So
Yes,
yesterday,
and we had nothing to do until our flight back.
yeah, Lindsay actually shot a podcast for Moms for Liberty National yesterday in Melbourne, and it is on their YouTube and X and Facebook page. You can watch it, check it out. It's really good. And so that's why we were there real quick to go do that. And that's where the Karen organization is based out of, right? Or Melbourne, isn't it?
Not the Karen organization, Sean.
They're the bustling town of Melbourne, Florida. Nothing is open past 9 o'clock
Yeah,
at
so
night.
Tina Deskovich, one of our co-founders, is from Melbourne, and that's where our home office is. And we flew in late after the show on Tuesday, and everything was shut down. It
Yeah.
was like 9:30, almost 10 o'clock. Everything was done for.
We had a
And
DoorDash food. That's how bad it got.
I asked Tina, "What do you do around here?" She said, "Well, growing up here, we called it Melboring." So it. There was a lot going on during the day.
Was there? I mean, there was people walking around town. What did we do? We hung around an Irish pub for several hours.
Yeah, which was fun.
Which was fun. That was good. It was good. Hey, look, it was a pretty town, pretty beach town. It's right next to the Kate Kennedy Space Center, which I wanted to take Lindsay to, but we couldn't because there was no transportation that wasn't ridiculously expensive to get there. So we ended up going to that.
And then he probably thought I would have been kicked out of there anyway because
Yeah,
I totally believe
so.
they're selling a bunch of lies.
Right. Exactly.
You know, even the people there in Melbourne agreed with me that we have not been to the moon.
It was literally one bartender. It was one person. Yes, not a representative sample of the entire town of Melbourne, Florida.
But she agreed we've not been to the moon.
Now you asked the one bartender, and she told us that. That's good. So we were there for that, and if y'all get a chance to check it out, it was really Lindsay gets to tell her whole long story.
Well, it was wild reflecting back on 10 years ago and where I was in my life 10 years ago, and where I am today. And that's kind of how we started the podcast off. And then I shocked myself and couldn't get words out without becoming a blubbering mess.
Yeah.
And that never happens. I'm able to talk about hard things that have happened in my life without doing that. So it kind of like took me by surprise that I just couldn't seem to control my emotions, and ended up wiping tears for the entire first half of the podcast. But I think we kind of cut it a little. I would have liked to have talked about kind of where I am today in my life and what has really changed from coming from where I came from 10 years ago and being married and 2 children with 2 on the way and not involved in politics and working in healthcare to today, where I could never see myself going back into the healthcare field, and being able to advocate for so many issues that I care about and learning how to use my voice. And Sean's been a big part of that by encouraging me to do the Raising Liberty podcast and sponsoring that. And, that leading into this radio show and meeting him and, working for the law firm and learning more and more about law, and which of course I love the true crime and the criminal cases. So it's right up my alley. And, so thank you, Shaun, for being such a big part of my happy life today.
Well, you're welcome. Glad to do it. It's been a lot. It's definitely not what I've ever expected. I would say that would be I didn't think I'd be sitting next to anybody at a bar in Melbourne discussing how the moon landing did not happen.
A sovereign citizen.
I thought that was generally accepted wisdom, but apparently not. There's a lot of people out there. Lindsay's opened my eyes, so lots of people think differently than I do. And so that's been neat learning about that.
You didn't know what a chemtrail was.
I'd never heard of it. That was our first date. You were like, yeah, it's the chemtrails. I'm like, what is a chemtrail? I mean, I guess I've never gone down these conspiracy, except for the JFK conspiracy one that I studied.
But aren't they so much fun?
They're not really, I would say. No, I don't like them. I'm how my mind works. I'm very logical. And so conspiracies don't make a lot of sense.
He wants to believe the government is good.
It's not that I want to believe the guy. I think you always say that, but I don't think that's it. I used to say this when I was a prosecutor, when people were talking about conspiracies. I'm like, people are too stupid to keep their mouth shut. Like, that's what my experience. Somebody always talks. I always feel like that's why they get found out, because some dumb A is going to talk. Like, that's how we catch all these guys a lot of times, because somebody's talking and they're all like conspiracy to do whatever. Can't keep their mouth shut. So I just figure that's why a lot of conspiracies I don't believe in. Now, it doesn't mean conspiracies don't exist. I totally believe in the JFK conspiracy as much as
How did that many people keep their mouths shut?
That was a tough one. I mean, it wasn't 400,000 people like on the Apollo project.
But I've explained this to you. I don't believe all those people knew they believed it too.
Right. Yeah. Well, it'd be interesting to see how they were able to keep that secret. Maybe one day I guess those people are probably on their deathbed or dead by now. They would confess to this massive conspiracy of the moon landing not happening. But now I know there's lots of people that don't believe in it. And I never realized that before.
You never realized
Well,
that.
one day my sister a few years ago was like, before we met, was like, have you heard of people like not believing in the moon landing? I'm like, no. I mean, I think I'd heard that like jokingly or something, right? Like somebody would like a joke here and there, but nothing I really paid attention to. And then she's like, no, there's this whole TikTok thing. I'm like, oh God. I said, I'm not even looking at it. Did you reference TikTok in our conversation? And I was like, I'm not listening to it.
And then you met me.
Yeah,
you're like, these people really do exist.
Yeah, these people totally exist. Like, they're out there. And, so
you're welcome.
Yeah, so hey, look, you got to learn about new different parts of life that you never thought you would ever think existed, I guess. But put it that way. So
yeah.
Anyway, so well, we other than we're glad to be back here today and to talk about some of the breaking news. When we were in Florida yesterday, I noticed that District Supervisor Steve, is it the way you call it? Is it District Supervisor or just Supervisor?
Supervisor District, whatever number. I'm not sure which number he is.
And Rankin County decided to respond.
Join the KKK. I'm kidding.
Join the KKK, as Kingfish said yesterday. He has joined now. That's thank you.
I'm kidding. That was a joke.
Yeah, it was pretty funny though. So, of course, if everybody remembers, we had Jerry Mitchell on. Was it last week? I think, or the week before. Sometimes this all runs together, y'all. And talking about Jerry was, even we know Jerry, he's the Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, in Mississippi. I think one of his most famous cases was Byron De La Becque with the murder of Medgar Evers, and he kind of got that re-prosecution going and many other things that he's done. And so he has been very involved in reporting on the Goon Squad for the last couple of years. Him and his team have
working with the New York Times.
Yeah, New York Times, and they've just really pulled some information out there. Anyway, so Jerry, this is well known that these articles by Jerry Mitchell and who Jerry Mitchell is and all that stuff has been out in the community for the last 2 years. Well, he goes to the breakfast. I'm not calling it a pair breakfast, political breakfast. What
It was like the GOP, I guess, breakfast. It's what Madison does with Grip and Grin is what they do at, I guess it was McLean, now Cypress Point breakfast on the first Saturday of every month. And I used to get out there a good bit. It's just so early for a Saturday, so I haven't been in a little while. And I'll tell you this, the numbers of that breakfast had really, really slacked off after the Goon Squad story broke, because I think a lot of people just really didn't want to be around Brian Bailey or hear him with his loud voice.
That whole term. And so during that breakfast a couple weeks back, Supervisor Steve Gaines got up and gave a speech. And in that speech, he said what most of us in the community knew about the two two gentlemen, Jenkins and Parker, that were attacked by the Goon Squad.
They had just reached that settlement.
Yeah, that settlement for $2.5 million. $2 million of it was policy limits of the county, and then the sheriff's department kicked in another $500,000. And Steve Gaines said, "Well, we beat the pants off of them," which I thought was kind of funny considering, well, you gave them policy limits and more money. So I don't know if I consider that beating the pants off anybody, but that's what he said. And he said that they're doper. He said he didn't use their name. He said dopers and rapists of your daughters or something to that.
But he had said that right after talking about the settlement and the lawyer doing such a good job for Rankin County in that settlement. So it was clearly it was very clear he was talking about these two men who were involved in the settlement.
That's right. It was obvious who he was talking. There was nobody else he could have been talking about.
Right.
And he said that, and then he said something, Lindsey, about kids coming across the river to go to school. And I think the reference was obviously black folks come across the river, and we don't want them in our school. Was the implication that I took? I'm sure we all took from that,
right?
Which was some of the rhetoric, as Lindsey has noted many times, that was used during the school choice debate that we had on this session. So, but Steve Gaines has come out and responded to this statement, which, by the way, wasn't just something Jerry Mitchell heard and reported on. He actually recorded it, and you can hear the recording for yourself.
And what you would expect,
trust your own ears. You don't have to trust our voices.
What you would expect is an apology. Like, maybe I should have used different words. Maybe I should have been more careful with what I was saying.
Yeah, something like that. But his
response, not what we got.
I got his response is, "I've recently been accused of singling out two individuals during a speech where I spoke about a wide range of issues facing Rankin County. The speech was over 22 minutes long and touched on many topics, including law enforcement, citizen safety. I want to be clear that my comments were not aimed at anyone personally, and I did not name any individuals," Gaines said in the statement.
I wonder if he's afraid of being sued.
Okay, Steve, none of us are buying that. I'm going to be like, no one's buying that. We all heard the recording. There is a recording where you are obviously making racist comments. We all heard it. All of us heard it. We're not stupid. We're not children.
It's pretty clear.
It's pretty clear what you were saying. You just get out there and say, "I am sorry for making those statements. That was inappropriate." That's what you do. That's you own it. Just own that it was bad. It was a bad look for Rankin County. It was, it was a horrible thing to say about people that had been brutalized like that. Just apologize. And people, you know what, Lindsey, a lot of times people can forgive you for things if you say you're sorry.
Yeah.
But your deflection of, I didn't name any. Wasn't me. I mean, are you Shaggy? Wasn't me? Like, I mean, what
double
was
down
that?
on it,
Unbelievable.
Who is giving him advice?
I don't know. He's better off, Lindsey. He's better off not saying a word.
I agree.
would have just not said, than just trying to pretend like the public is a bunch of idiots.
And not only that, Shaun, but he's not really everyone's favorite person right now anyway, because the Board of Supervisors has just been in some hot water with Rankin County residents because of the zoning and the land issues.
Yeah.
They had to recant on that after voting unanimously on it. And that just took place last week, where gobs of people showed up at the supervisors meeting to share with them their disgust for the decisions that they were making for Rankin County residents. So what a time to then go and speak and make these kinds of statements and then double down on it.
Yeah, and also I'm glad you brought that up, because if you remember, Brad Calhoun, who I've told you I've known a long time, and that's in the Calhoun family, he released a statement apologizing. So did another supervisor, I forget his name. They're both on the same Board of Supervisors as Steve Gaines. Apparently Steve didn't get the memo that maybe when you mess up, you should apologize, like they had the courage to do.
Yeah.
And so Steve's like, "No, I'm gonna double down on this." When talking about those two guys, it was some other guys that got beaten and shot through the mouth. It wasn't those two guys. That's not who I meant. Okay, I'm sorry. We're not kids. We're not stupid. I think, Steve, you just made it worse on yourself. Just my opinion.
I agree. Well, we got to take our first break, but we want to hear your thoughts and opinions as well. So if you want to call in and talk with us today on air, the number is 601-879-0002. And stay with us, because we will be right back here, crossing the aisle, Shaun and Lindsey, WIB 103.9. We are back here on Crossing the Aisle with Shaun and Lindsey. We saw on the break, Kingfish has a new article up about our favorite attorney.
Yeah, we didn't plan to talk about this, but this is, you go to jacksonjambalaya.com. Kingfish, who hosted our show, we thank him very much yesterday. It's about Bridget Todd, Lindsay's favorite attorney.
My favorite person.
I've never seen her wait, that's not true. I've seen her get mad at a lot of things, but this may be the maddest. I mean, because Lindsay has got this little flare-up temper, and this is the
what are you talking about?
you do.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But I have never seen her get quite this angry at somebody. And that's Bridget Todd.
It's personal.
They even had a Facebook war about it. It was her and Bridget Todd, like during the trial, when Bridget Todd was up in the middle of the night arguing with Lindsay on Facebook
at 1 a.m. the night before closing arguments. Which, I mean, we understand she didn't know what she was doing anyway, and that's exactly what this article is about. That Kingfish has up, that she should not have been the attorney on that case, especially given the fact that she was obviously searching herself on Facebook to even have been able to pull up what I had written.
Right.
Yes, and I mean, it's clearly there's some personal reasons why I have a very strong hate, and I will say it, hate for this woman.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's quite. In the fight y'all two got into was, I mean, it was hilarious as outsiders, because you guys it was a cat fight of all epic proportions.
And her spewing, non-truths, just like she's good.
Well, that's kind of what she does.
That's what she does.
She's and so anyway, the Kingfish article, and Lindsay and I'll discuss all this, and we just got to get through Lindsay's extreme bias towards Miss Todd. I've only met Miss Todd in court, so I don't really know her.
And I told you she was crazy, and I think sometimes you don't believe me when I say somebody's crazy, but I think she's proved clearly she's quite a sociopath.
Yeah, but I mean, when someone tells me on our first date that they believe in chemtrails, and they call someone else crazy, so it's hard for me to it's hard for me to get that. But you were right. I will give you that.
Thank you.
You were right about this. She is absolutely, in my opinion, absolutely nuts. And so Miss Kingfish's article discusses that Miss Todd had only handled 2 criminal cases before she represented Carly Gregg last year. And as we all know, that Carly Gregg is the girl that killed her mother and shot her stepfather, 14-year-old, and was sentenced to life without parole. And that was just very big, popular trial. I mean, locally famous trial, I guess you would say. We even did a podcast on it. You can check it out on our YouTube site last fall. So if a review of the dockets in Madison, Rankin, and Hinds County reveals Todd only represented 2 felony criminal cases prior to her representation of Gregg. The cases are a man named Jordan Morrison, who pled guilty to a 2021 charge of possession of a controlled substance. In July of 2024, he received non-adjudicated probation, which is, that means a pretty easy plea. Not much work to a case like that.
Right.
The next up was a case y'all probably heard about, Beth Ann White, who was the drunk lady. You know, the drunk lady case that hit those people, and they had to, I think they tried it twice and convicted her on the second one.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Todd served as co-counsel with attorney Kevin Camp, she also tried the Carly Gregg case with. Now, Kevin has got a lot of experience. I mean, especially DUI stuff. So there's
this wasn't a DUI though.
No, well, I mean, he has a lot of I've tried a capital murder case against Kevin before in the past, like over 10 years ago. So I mean, he's done all. If I
remember correctly, you didn't get all the discovery in that case either, right?
No, that was different. He claimed that I didn't give him it, and I had. Yeah, so it's really funny.
He tried to Brady you.
Well, actually, I had to take the stand and testify in that. That was the case, the Memorial Day massacre cases I've told you I tried.
Yeah.
Back in 2010, and yes, he claimed I didn't give him something. I had to testify. We actually did give it to him. So anyway, but I mean, look, I've got no problems with Kevin. We've always got along fine, and he's got plenty of experience, so that's not an issue with him. But the Beth Ann White, I think she obviously was going to get convicted. I mean, the lady was drunk as all get out, and
right.
And she was convicted in the second trial. Todd represented White with Kevin. I think Kevin was lead counsel, if I remember he's correct. Mm-hmm. And Todd did do closing argument because there was some stuff on Twitter where people were making fun of something she said. I can't remember what it was. I had to find it again.
Yeah.
This article just hit us right now, y'all, right over during the show. So I'm not prepared with that. But so that's what Kingfish says here. That's it. She had 1 criminal trial under her belt when she represented Carly Gregg on a it was capital murder, right? That Carly Gregg was charged, wasn't it? Yeah, I think so. Murder or capital? Capital murder, I think. No, it's murder.
No, because she didn't steal
anything.
Murder.
Yeah, it's just murder. Okay, I don't know why I keep calling it capital murder. Okay, just murder.
Was it second?
I think it was first degree murder. I believe so. I have to look at it again. Wasn't ready for this. Lindsay, you should know this. You follow this case. I don't follow these other cases.
I followed this case.
Okay, it was murder. Yeah. So she never handled a criminal case other than the Beth Ann White, which I think is an aggravated DUI charged as that. I'm assuming that's what it was. And then she would jump right off 2 feet with a murder case. we
That she
all saw.
clearly was not experienced enough to be handling. And, while I do believe there's no question Carly Gregg is guilty as all get out, she didn't get what I would think is a fair trial with that attorney. And what's wild is that, Bridget Todd just showed up at the jail
Mhm.
and asked to meet with her and said, "Hey, I want to represent you." It wasn't like they sought Bridget Todd out.
Right.
And then, just kind of made a mess of the whole entire trial and the whole entire case. And I think that's why Bridget has now moved to Utah, because she's afraid she might run into Catherine Newman on the street and there could be a real cat fight there.
Yeah, she's now, that's what Lindsay's saying. So Miss Todd has relocated her law practice to Utah, and like maybe she's converting to become a Mormon or something. Who knows? We were talking about Mormons yesterday for a long time.
We were. I mean, I've read her divorce paperwork.
Oh,
It's wild.
that
It is
sounds like a Mormon
wild.
movie. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I don't know that's a Mormon for you.
She was only married to that guy for like 2 years. I felt so bad for him. Like, dude,
And he was a client who was trying to get custody of his kids. That's how she met him.
Yeah.
This woman,
It was
I tell you, she is a nut job.
It was pretty rough. But so Kingfish notates here that she had handled approximately 145 cases in Hinds, Rankin, and Madison County Chancery Courts, which Chancery Courts are family law. That's where family stuff happens: divorces, child custody, all that.
Where I met her.
Yeah, and so basically, she's a chancellor lawyer. Nothing wrong with being a chancellor lawyer. I don't know how to do a dang thing in Chancery Court. That's a different kind of law practice, but I don't know how that. And a lot of people do criminal work and chancery work. That's very common too. But apparently, Miss Todd had not really done any criminal work prior to this, except for 2 cases, and then was lead counsel on a murder case, which seems a little bit. I mean, she had Kevin there to watch, so I mean, I can see it from that regard because he's very experienced. But that is really interesting that she just wanted to say, "Hey, I'm going to jump into this one," and we saw the result of that. I think that case, and I told Lindsay that many times, that should have resulted in a guilty plea. I think it would have had she had another attorney other than Miss Todd. I think the facts were clear from it.
Yeah, she should have taken the plea deal that she was offered.
Yeah, I mean, they were not going to. Their defense is what's called McNaughton insanity, and that was just not going to be shown.
Couldn't prove it. Yeah, there's no way they could not prove that.
It couldn't, and so they should have known that from the get go. I think I've heard back channel that there was offers made that seemed reasonable to me. Lindsay's doing the same thing, and I think you had a different attorney that would have been done. Right.
You would have had an attorney who encouraged her
to
take that. Instead, you had one who was telling her, "We're going to get you out and you can come live with me and I'll adopt you."
Yeah, I think, Bridget Todd obviously wanted her day in the sun on court TV. And then, unfortunately, like attorneys can get sucked into this. I know how that feels. You get sucked into, there's a documentary. I've been on one before. There's a court TV shows up, there's cameras. You're like, oh, this is good for me. It's good for my law practice, but you need to keep your eye on the ball. What's best for your client, not for yourself. Or my always view. Lindsay works for me. And I think she could attest that that's what I do all the time. Yeah. I don't even constantly. This is kind of a conversation we always have. If someone calls me and they're like, and so many times I say, Lindsay got a laugh at it, that I'm like, I tell them, like, you don't really need to spend your money on me. I mean, this is not something that you need to do, like, because a lot of people don't know. And I mean, I think a lot of attorneys could take their money for this, but I don't do that because I'm just like, I feel like it's karma. And I'm not going to just take somebody's money for something. I'm like, dude, you don't really need, I've told so many people this, you don't really need an attorney for that. You can go, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's whatever. Just do that. But I think there's other people in all kinds of professions that will take advantage of the public. Unfortunately, attorneys have a bad rap for that. A long jaded history. It's like attorneys and used car salesmen are the most hated professions, I think. And and this is one, I think, incident in my opinion where she took advantage of a young girl for her own fame.
Yeah. And I mean, the sad thing is that obviously this girl, while maybe not mentally insane, she's definitely mentally unstable. Anyone that's 14 years old and can shoot their mom in the head the way that this girl did, something's off.
Yeah.
And to take advantage of someone like that and then to lie to them about the outcome of what this is going to be, and then to even say you to go and visit them every day and to take them things and to almost like want to be a mother figure to them, just to haul off to Utah as soon as it's over with, after telling everyone, I'm going to handle the appeal. I'm invested. I care about this little girl, and then just run off for God knows whatever reason. I don't even know what the reason was. I'm sure there was some reasoning behind it, knowing how crazy this woman is.
I think, yeah, probably. I mean, obviously her reputation was a bit tarnished after that. And, sometimes
she had so
new
many
place, new start.
So many of us calling her out.
Yeah.
So around here, I'm sure she probably
and many other clients, because I mean,
Yes, we've had so many people reach
yeah,
out to the both of us and tell us horror stories, which I have my own personal one, but we've had lots of people
yeah.
tell us god awful. This woman, the bar needs to look into her.
Yeah, I mean, well, they probably just the way they'll look at it now. Well, it's Utah's problem. I would
Yeah.
imagine that's what they're gonna do. That's what it's. Anyway, it's time for our
Utah bar, if you're listening,
yeah,
look into this woman.
right.
All right, yeah, we got to take our next break, but stay with us and we'll be right back. Maybe we won't be trash talking anybody when we come back from
No.
this next commercial break. Stay with us. Welcome back into Crossing the Aisle with Shaun and Lindsey. So, Shaun, you just saw a new article that dropped, and I didn't even realize that Rankin County supervisors were having a meeting today, but I'm guessing that they did.
Apparently they did. It's about 42 minutes ago. Jerry dropped another article on Mississippi Today and on his Facebook page about a meeting this morning with the Rankin County Board of Supervisors, and it says Thursday's meeting, so I'm assuming it's sometime, Thursday, May
Yes,
15th.
it was today. I saw the YouTube link pop up.
Okay, so it must have been this morning. And at the meeting, several citizens came in there and asked for Supervisor Gaines to resign. And
it's standing room only. So
yeah, a lot of people were there.
They're still mad.
It says one person said, if you were not referring to Mr. Eddie Parker and Michael Jenkins, those are two individuals that were attacked by the Goon Squad and shot and beaten, who were you referring to? This person asked Gaines. If you're not speaking specifically to the case that the lawyer was involved in, then which case exactly is it? Is there another case out there that no one knows about? After Rankin County residents experienced the initial shock of what happened to Jenkins and Parker, there was utter disgust and complete dismay and fade trust between the community and the sheriff's office, he said. Goon Squad is now a household name. This is what the person is saying at the meeting. Some power brokers in Rankin County have urged Gaines to resign, but he gave no indication Thursday that he would do so. And I think, Lindsey, that's a good point. Like, what I mean, your response that we read in the first segment,
right,
is saying that I didn't name anybody. It just wasn't about anybody, which is ridiculous. And we all know that.
We all know that. And I've got a commenter here who said they've got the money to lawyer up and sue him for defamation. So, I mean, I'm sure that may be why he even released a statement at all. Mm-hmm. And the statement that he released is basically backtracking, saying I wouldn't name anyone specific. And I'm guessing he's afraid of a lawsuit.
Yeah, but I mean, if he thinks that's going to be some kind of defense, it's utterly ridiculous. It was completely in the context of Michael Jenkins and Eddie Parker and what had just happened, settling the lawsuit that had just happened. There was only one lawsuit that they had settled, right, and it was this one. And then referring to them as dopists and rapists of people's daughters, and then further going into talking about people coming across the river to go to school, which obviously is referencing Black people. We're not stupid. We're all adults here.
And then evidently he has made some other comments recently about the land issue we were talking about.
What did he say about that?
He said that it's not a big deal and everything was just being blown out of proportion. And so we had a Rankin County resident write on Facebook and give his cell phone number and say, look, since it's no big deal and just being blown out of proportion, I'm sure he won't mind all the phone calls and texts. No, I'm not going to give his number out on the air. Shaun got mad at me for doing that one time. I'm not going to do that, but it is on Facebook and you can find it if you want to share concerns with him about some of these several different issues here. I mean, the racist comments, almost like the defending of the Goon Squad, mm-hmm, and saying that it's no big deal that we want to take your land rights away. Sounds like this,
to the poor people, by the way. Let's specify that correctly. That's what he's saying with because rich people don't have mobile homes.
Sounds like
I mean, that's what
this district needs to find a new supervisor in the next election.
So what he's saying, Lindsey, essentially is, I'm glad you brought that up. What he's saying is, Black people bad. This is what my opinion of what he's saying. Yeah, Black people bad, and so poor people too. So poor people, Black people, just whatever.
So we got a call coming in.
That's what you're saying.
Let's see who we got here. Crossing the Aisle, you're on the air.
Hey, I'm making it today.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
Oh, good. I just wanted to comment a little bit about the Gaines issue. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of government overreach on his part. I've witnessed it on two occasions. One, there was a gentleman that ran against him in a couple elections back that he just because he ran against him, he had a business in Rankin County, and he didn't really approve of the way things was going. He was kind of running out of his house like a mechanic shop, but he used his, political power to make that man move out of the county with his business. And there was an incident with me. I had inherited a mobile home and I had moved it out on my property, and it didn't look the best in the world, but I had all the intentions of fixing it up.
Yeah.
And a neighbor of mine that was buddies of his called him, and anyway, Mr. Gaines, he called the zoning commission. The zoning commission sent me an ugly letter, and I had to jump through all kind of hoops to go ahead and get it presentable to where it looked decent, But keep in mind now, I live way out in the country.
Right.
My nearest neighbor is probably 300 yards from me.
But if it's your land, why does it matter to anyone?
Well, it really didn't matter to me because I had full intentions on fixing it all the way up, but just because, the appearance of it, that his neighbor didn't like it, well, he jumped on me, I had to do this and had to do that to get it up to what they thought needed to do. I needed to do plumbing work and electrical work and all this first, but no, I had to jump through hoops to please him. So
that's the definition of government overreach.
I'm running into.
Yeah, that's the definition
Wow.
of government overreach, if you ask me. I mean,
that's unbelievable. I hate that happened to you. It seems to me that he's it's almost like it's a class struggle, I guess you would say. Like Gaines thinks he's some elite politician.
Who does he think he is?
And
He lives in Rankin
everybody else
County.
can kiss my ring. Essentially, that's the way it comes across to me.
Yeah, well, I'm not a fan. I hope that you guys can find somebody to run against him in the next supervisor election and find someone who will care about the people.
I reached out to that gentleman who ran against him a couple of terms back, and said, "Hey, man, I think what you've been through and what I've been through, I think you're the perfect person to represent us, in this struggle that we're fighting for. What we're going through, and it's just bull crap the way they've got this. Anybody can call up there and say, hey, this neighbor has got this in their yard. This neighbor's got that in their yard. And then they'll send out a zoning inspector and take pictures. And then that's when they reach out to you and say, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that. When in reality it could be somebody from another county driving by and saying, they know the rules. Well, I don't like the way that looks, So what I think they need to do, if they're going to keep that enforced, they need to have that person go up there and sign an affidavit and put their name on the record and say, hey, this is what I think of this person. This is what I think of that person. But, where we all live out in the country, it really shouldn't matter. We're farmers, we're ranchers.
Right. You're not under an HOA.
Yeah. And we're so rural that it's just crazy, the laws that we have to that we're being pushed upon and have to look a certain way and act a certain way, and they don't discriminate on how what kind of car you drive. I mean, you can have a 30-year-old model car antique, but if your mobile home's over 10 years old now, that went back to the 10-year law, you can't move it within the county. Your neighbor can't buy it. So basically you're stuck with it. You're going to sell it to somebody in another county because you can't move it within the county.
Mm-hmm.
It's not grandfathered in.
Well, I got to say, I hate that you had to go through that, but I got to give y'all credit over there in Rankin County for showing up and holding those elected officials accountable. I mean, that's just an example to everyone in the state of Mississippi of what the people coming together can do, because we are a government of the people, by the people. And so you guys are doing a great job over there of getting the word out and exposing what they're doing.
Basically the same petition that we use to get this land ordinance rescinded is the same. We need to get the same petition. Let's all get together and we're gonna ask for his resignation. Let's see how many signatures he gets on that. So I'm gonna try to reach out to Ms. Hall and see would she be willing to let her lawyer type up that paperwork where we can get.
Hey, can you send me a message on Facebook? I might be able to help you get in touch with somebody about a petition. I know someone who's done one in Rankin County and knows all the loopholes and everything that you have to have. So I can get you in touch with her if that would help you.
Yeah, that'd be great. You just give me the number and I'll write it down and call.
Yeah, are you on Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah. Send me a message on Facebook, Lindsey Beckham.
Okay, be glad to.
Yeah, and I'll get you in touch with her.
Take care.
Yes, thanks so much. I appreciate your call. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're seeing, government overreach.
Well, it's not just, it is, agreed, but it's also who's got the power. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially what this is. So Gaines is like, he's kind of part of the good old boys club, kiss the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's obviously, according to this caller, he's, pressuring somebody that the guy had ran against him. Is that correct? I think. Yeah. And then he had then he enacted political retribution on him, according to what they were saying.
Yeah.
It's just sad. And the way he's, the way Gaines is talking, it's obviously, these are obviously racist comments. I don't care where you put it. They are towards these guys and towards anybody coming across the river. And then he's also attacking poor folks, because he's like, I don't care about them and their trailers. Heck with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Come
So
over, kiss the ring. I mean, and that's disgusting, man. That's disgusting. I think that's why, and I've heard too from Rankin County officials and back channeled. I think you probably have too, that they're all asking for him to resign. They're like,
yeah,
you're
I
making
think
the
that
county
yeah.
look bad.
He is.
Now
He
everybody thinks we're a bunch of
absolutely
racists. We already had this Goon Squad problem, and now you just
And
exacerbated that
it's
problem.
almost like he defended them, and
That's a
that's
joke.
indefendable or undefendable, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
But Chris Williams said that there are, homeowners or associations or government reach. I agree completely, Chris. He says Hines County has similar ordinances against mobile and modular homes. That Rankin County rescinded the bill after the fact. But why was it even put on the table in the beginning? Chris, I said the same thing. Like, whose idea was it? And where did they get their advice from? I've heard that the supervisor's attorney was involved in some kind of way. I don't know why. I don't know what the reasoning behind him wanting that done would be. But I'm just so glad the citizens stood up to them. Miss Angela, hello to you. She's watching over at the Mike magazine. And then Chantel said, hey, y'all, by the way, I love the show. So thank you so much to all those who are watching and listening today. And if you have a business, we do have room for advertisers. So if you like what you're hearing or seeing on Crossing the Aisle, get in touch with one of us, and we will be glad to send you some more information on how you can sponsor us and collaborate with us so that we can do more.
Yep.
But we got to take our last commercial break. Stay with us. We will be right back here to wrap up this Thursday on Crossing the Aisle, WIB 103.9. This Thursday on Crossing the Aisle, WIB 103.9.
WYAB.
Have you been injured through no fault of your own? Do you know your rights? Don Evans does. Do you really believe that the insurance company would disclose all information to you? Don Evans will make sure that you are fully informed. It costs nothing to discuss your case. From car wrecks to malpractice, Don Evans will make you and your family whole again. Don Evans won't ever charge unless he collects for you. Call Don for a free no-obligation consultation at 601-969-2006.
Hi, this is Lee Atkins of Home Care Plus in Ridgeland. We are a proud carrier of Abena Premium Incontinence products. Abena has the most absorbency available, making changes and leaks less likely. After 7 years as a seller, I can tell you these products are amazing and worth every penny to quality of life for patient and caregiver. And we ship all incontinence products as well. So please come see us at Home Care Plus in Ridgeland for all the incontinence needs of you or your family member. That's Home Care Plus in Ridgeland.
Are you a wine enthusiast? Are you looking for the perfect bottle to elevate your next dinner? The ultimate destination for wine lovers is 042 Wine and Spirits on West Government Street in Brandon. They're locally owned, they're locally operated. 042 Wine offers something for everyone, from local favorites to rare vintage wines. 042 Wine and Spirits can help you find your next favorite wine. The friendly and knowledgeable folks at 042 Wine and Spirits will help you find the perfect bottle for every occasion. 042 Wine and Spirits, located on West Government Street in Brandon.
Are you hosting an event? Let Burgers Blues Barbecue handle the food while you enjoy the moment. From an important lunch to a dreamy wedding, B3 Catering is sure to please everyone. Find Burgers Blues Barbecue online and click the catering tab, or just give us a call. And when you're dining out, visit Burgers Blues Barbecue in Flowood, Brandon, or Madison for incredible plates served fresh daily. Burgers Blues Barbecue and B3 Catering, a delicious combination.
It can be hard to move past the guilt, times of weakness, and regret, knowing you weren't there for your family when they needed you the most. But there is life after addiction. We're seeing broken families restored, one man at a time, through our vehicle, cash, and thrift store donations. It's given Mercy House Adult and Teen Challenge the ability to help these men succeed in having better lives. Donate a vehicle, running or not, and we'll come pick it up. Call today, 601-572-7296, or visit us at vehicledonationsms.com.
We all make plans for the future, like car accidents, break-ins, and unexpected fires can disrupt those plans. At Shelter Insurance, our agents help design insurance plans that work for you and help protect what matters most. Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
See Shelter Agent Jamie Creel for a free personal protection review.
Delicious food and a relaxing atmosphere combine to make the best place for sports fans and foodie fans to watch the game and just hang out. Capitol Grill of Jackson. Of course they've got the games, but food, oh my goodness. Mouth-watering po' boys, fish, steaks, appetizers, and a specialty pizza menu. Kitchen opens at 5 Monday through Thursday and 11 Friday through Sunday. And happy hours are daily at Capitol Grill. Also enjoy the all-new Tuesday night and karaoke on Wednesday and Friday nights from 8 till midnight with DJ Money Mod. Capitol Grill, DeVille Plaza in Jackson.
Dr. Mike Stonington here from Stonington Farm Grass-Fed Beef. We are grass-fed and grass-finished beef. No hormones, no antibiotics, no grain, no broad spraying of herbicides or pesticides. And never, I mean never, do we use mRNA vaccines. We are 100% local and 100% Mississippi. Our calves are born in Mississippi, raised on Stonington Farm, and processed in Mississippi. Contact us at StoningtonFarm.com. That's StoningtonFarm.com with 2 N's. We are the grass-fed difference.
Come together.
We are back here wrapping up this Thursday on Crossing the Aisle with Shaun and Lindsey. So, Shaun, I guess the theme for today is if you're a supervisor, don't make racist comments. And if you're Bridget Todd, just stop practicing law.
Yeah, or at least stick to what you're good at kind of thing. I think.
What is she good at?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know.
It's not family law, and it's not criminal law, and it's not marriage. So,
No, I can't hate on the not being good at marriage thing. So that afflicts a lot of us, I would think. But
it's
anyway,
definitely not parenting her imaginary kids either. So I don't know.
Yeah, that was weird too.
It was quite weird.
It's kind of weird. But it's unfortunate. I hope they eventually the officials Rankin County do get Supervisor Gaines to step down. It's good for the county at this point. The county's got a lot of good people, a lot of good elected officials. We know a lot of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're really, really hardworking public servants, and it's sad that this has happened to them because, it's like the one bad apple spoils a bunch kind of thing.
Yeah.
And everybody's thinking, oh, everybody's a bunch of racists. And that's not true. That's absolutely not true.
No, my friend Sharon Womack over there does an amazing job with the events that she holds in Rankin County, and her husband.
Mm-hmm. I think her husband's running for sheriff.
I think so. And I think that would be a great,
there you go.
It would be a step up in my opinion.
And, our friend Fred Shanks represents that district, and he does a great job. And
yeah.
He's not a racist.
Celeste has got part of Rankin County. And we know a lot of great elected officials over there.
Yeah,
a lot of
they're
them.
all not like this is what we're trying to
exactly.
say. They're not like this, and they don't like it either.
And Josh Harkins, he's worked with me on many things in the legislature. So,
yeah, there's a lot of good people over there. So unfortunately, sometimes bad things happen. Hopefully they'll be able to move on from all this, and we'll see what happens with that. But as Lindsey said at the end of last segment, though, we are actively looking for sponsors for this show. We have a bunch, and we thank them so much for being on with us. We've got, CrossFit founder, Nick Bain's law firm, AFP, and Pure Air Consultants. So,
and then the York Run Law Firm.
And then, yes, I'm sponsoring the show as well. That's correct. And so, we're always looking for new people. And so just reach out to me or Lindsey on Facebook, or you can call us at 601-862-1320.
Or there's Shaun at WIB, Lindsey at WIB.
Yeah.
So
on my law firm website, reach out, and we'd love to have you on to talk about your business. And we do this every day, Monday through Friday.
12:07 to 1 p.m. So.
Everybody's in the car, lunchtime. You put it on lunch hour to help you out.
We'll be back tomorrow. Same time. See you then.